Hello and welcome to another Lamp Bible Study. My name is James, your host and Bible reader for Lamp Bible Study. And so today we will be continuing in the book of First Chronicles, and we will be picking up in chapter 6. I'm currently reading from NIV Collegium Bible, and for today, let's see here. It's been a decent day. It's been an okay day. And I hope and pray that it's been an okay day for you as well. And if not, well, welcome to Lamp Bible Study. I'm so happy for you to join us. Doing Lamp Bible Study, it always brings me a joy just to be able to discuss and go over the Holy Word with others, with yourself, and just digging into the wisdom. And I pray and hope that we can continue to seek the Lord's wisdom together. And so let's get started with today's lesson, because there's a lot. And once again, there's going to be a lot of names because the book of Chronicles is basically a review, a big review of all the previous books that we went over. So let's get started today with First Chronicles chapter 6. Levi. The sons of Levi: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Kohath: Amram, Elizar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The children of Amram: Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. The sons of Aaron: Nadab, Abihu, Elizar, and Ithamar. Elizar was the father of Phinehas. Phinehas the father of Abishua. Abishua the father of Buki. Buki the father of Uzzi. Uzzi the father of Zariah. Zariah the father of Merioth. Merioth the father of Amariah. Amariah the father of Atub. Atub the father of Zodok. Zodok the father of Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz the father of Azariah. Azariah the father of Johanan. Johanan the father of Azariah. It was he who served as priest in the temple Solomon built in Jerusalem. Azariah the father of Amariah. Amariah the father of Ahitub. Ahitub the father of Zadok. Zadok the father of Shillem. Shillem the father of Hilkiah. Hilkiah the father of Azariah. Azariah the father of Sariah, and Sariah the father of Jehozadak. Jehozadak was deported when the Lord sent Judah and Jerusalem into exile by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. So literally, we went all the way from right before Moses to Moses, and all the way to where Israel has been. Israel has been removed from the promised land. So they entered the promised land, and now they've been removed from the promised land. And so there's quite a bit of names. You remember Moses and Aaron and Miriam back in Exodus, and how they were family, as well as Moses was selected by the Lord to lead his people from bondage. And because they had originally went down to Egypt to escape a famine, and unfortunately, after a lot of time, the Egyptians decided to utilize them and mistreat Israel. And so they ended up being eventually in captivity. So they went down on good terms, but over time, that changed. And so, but they still were blessed. They were still multiplying in Egypt. And so then Moses was selected to, help free his people, and his brother Aaron went with him. And so later on, after they leave, after the Lord does all of his miracles through all the different signs, then they get to finally leave Egypt, and we also get introduced to Miriam along the way, who was there as their sister, and we also get to see just how Israel acted in the desert or in the wilderness. We get to see that even though the Lord freed them through all of the miracles that happened and that they got to see firsthand, they still rebelled. They still wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to go back into slavery because that's what they were used to. They were too scared. They were too afraid, to the point where even when they were about to enter the promised land and they had selected a group of representatives to go and make an account of the promised land, filled with milk and honey and new wine and such, that when the report came back and 10 of them gave a good report of the land, but a bad report of the people to them, saying that they were too powerful, they decided that they weren't going to. They were too afraid and they were too worried about going up and entering the promised land. And so that whole generation didn't get to enter the promised land, including Moses and Aaron and Miriam. They didn't get to enter. Moses was the leader, and unfortunately at one time Moses kind of let the people get to him. He really let whether his anger or what have you, and had a reaction to the people. And so because of that, because he struck a rock and did not do exactly how the Lord commanded him to do, he wasn't able to enter the promised land. However, the Lord did allow him to see the promised land. And so that's when Joshua takes over after Moses. But this lineage follows the line of Moses and before him as well. And so now we kind of know, and again, in previous Bible studies, I mentioned this before, we have genealogy tests that we can take. We have DNA tests and such. I even mentioned in the previous Bible study, there's families, even now, maybe even, that still keep family tree records. I know that used to be a big thing in the recent past, 20, 30 years ago, that was a big thing. Now everybody is digitized more so. But back then they, spoke the names. They wrote them on papyrus. They wrote them on scrolls. That, they took account, and that's how they knew who was related to who, where they came from, kind of their culture. That's how they related into their culture. And so those were things that were important, and they're notated here so that we know what's going on and who and where these things come from and who was related to who and such. So there's quite a bit here. Reading over just this part, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Jehozadak was deported when the Lord sent Judah and Jerusalem into exile by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. The sons of Levi: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. These are the names of the sons of Gershon: Libni, Shimei. The sons of Kohath: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The sons of Merari: Mahali, Mushi. These are the clans of the Levites listed according to their fathers. Of Gershon: Libni, his son; Jahath, his son; Zimmah, his son; Joah, his son; Iddo, his son; Zerah, his son; and Jeretherai, his son. The descendants of Kohath: Aminadab, his son; Korah, his son; Asir, his son; Elkanah, his son; Abiasaph, his son; Asir, his son; Tahath, his son; Uriel, his son; Uzziah, his son; and Shoal, his son. The descendants of Elkanah: Amasai, Ahimoth, Elkanah, or Anah, his son; Zophai, his son; Nahath, his son; Eliab, his son; Jeroham, his son; Elkanah, his son; and Samuel, his son. The sons of Samuel: Joel, the firstborn; and Abijah, the second son, or Abijah, the second son. The descendants of Merari: Mahali, Libni, his son; Shimei his son, Uzzah his son, Shemaiah his son, Haggiah his son, and Asaiah his son. So if you do know the correct pronunciation to these names, do follow along and say them with us, or say them. And if you know how to correctly spell them out in pronunciation, you can do that. Definitely do that in the comments, and I thank you. So there's quite a bit here, including the several different people who have been mentioned in the previous books too that we've went over, including Merari and Elkanah and the Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Those originally. So, and that's and those were the sons of Levi. Reading over this portion, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? For me, it brings up the blessing of family, a blessing of knowing genealogies and such, and descendants. It's always fun to learn where we all came from, where we all originated from, or how throughout time people spread and the different cultures developed. It's always interesting and fun and exciting to learn all kinds of different things of the past and the importance of each of us, because each of us is important and each of us has a story. Each of us has a role to play, and the Lord loves each and every one of us. Think about those things, and that's what comes to my mind. Again, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The temple musicians. These are the men David put in charge of the music in the house of the Lord after the ark came to rest there. They ministered with music before the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, until Solomon built the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. They performed their duties according to the regulations laid down for them. Here are the men who served together with their sons. From the Kohathites, Herman the musician, the son of Joel, the son of Samuel, the son of Elkanah, the son of Joram, the son of Eliel, the son of Toa, the son of Zuph, the son of Elkanah, the son of Mahath, the son of Amasai, the son of Elkanah, the son of Joel, the son of Azariah, the son of Zephaniah, the son of Tahath, the son of Asir, the son of Abasaph, the son of Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, the son of Israel, and Haman's associate Asaph, who served at his right hand. Asaph, son of Berechiah, the son of Shemiah, the son of Michael, the son of Basaiah, the son of Malchijah, the son of Ithni, the son of Zerah, the son of Adiah, the son of Ethan, the son of Zimmah, the son of Shimei, the son of Jahath, the son of Gershon, the son of Levi. And from their associates, the Merarites at his left hand, Ethan, son of Kishi, the son of Abdi, the son of Maluch, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Amziah, the son of Hilkiah, the son of Amzi, the son of Bani, the son of Shemar, the son of Mahli, the son of Mushi, the son of Merari, the son of Levi. Their fellow Levites were assigned to all the other duties of the tabernacle, the house of God, but Aaron and his descendants were the ones who presented offerings on the altar of burnt offering and on the altar of incense in connection with all that was done in the most holy place, making atonement for Israel in accordance with all that Moses, the servant of God, had commanded. Lots of names, right? Again, the reason for these names was this was it. This was the way to keep track, the way to keep track of who was from where, and who was part of what family and such, and so that this was important. Let's continue to read. Their fellow Levites were assigned. Oh, I already read all this. These were the descendants of Aaron: Elizar his son, Phinehas his son, Abshua his son, Bukai his son, Uzi his son, Zeriah his son, Meroeth his son, Amariah his son, Ahitub his son, Zodok his son, and Ahimaaz his son. These were the locations of their settlements allotted as their territory. They were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the Kohathite clan, because the first lot was for them. They were given Hebron and Judah with its surrounding pasture lands, but the fields and villages around the city were given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh. So the descendants of Aaron were given Hebron, a city of refuge, in Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Hilen, Debir, Ashan, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their pasture lands. And from the tribe of Benjamin, they were given Gibeon, Geba, Alameth, and Anathoth, together with their pasture lands. These towns, which were distributed among the Kohathite clans, were 13 in all. The rest of the Kohath's descendants were allotted 10 towns from the clans of half the tribe of Manasseh. And so remember that some of the tribes lived on the east or the west side of the Jordan, and the other tribes lived on the east side of the Jordan originally, before when they got into the Promised Land, and then before they were removed from the Promised Land. Let's see here. Let's continue to read. The descendants of Gershon, clan by clan, were allotted 13 towns from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, and Naphtali, and from the part of the tribe of Manasseh that is in Bashan. The descendants of Merari, clan by clan, were allotted 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites gave the Levites these towns and their pasture lands from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. They allotted the previously named towns. So again, when the Levites were able to, were dedicated to the Lord. Remember, they didn't have an inheritance. So they were the ones that were ministering in the temples, and they were the ones that were doing the offerings and such. And basically being showing people how to worship, being leaders in a way of worshiping the Lord, and showing how to praise the Lord, and how to in all of that, following commandments of the Lord. So they were examples. They were to help people, and the people also helped them. Of course, they got part of the tithes that were given, and they got to eat the burnt offerings and such. So it was a joint thing. It was, the Levites were in the service of the Lord, and the people were, as long as everybody was following the commandments and following the guidelines that the Lord had given, then they would be blessed. And out of those blessings, they wanted to return and give freely. And so the Levites got to partake in those. And so think about that, past and present. So past to present, do we have anything that's in a similar nature where we all kind of help out? One thing that comes to my mind here is how when we get a job, we those little things called might be on your paycheck, like FICA or something, where it's portions to Social Security, where it's portions to Medicare, Medicaid, etc. That helps out society, for retirement and for medical issues and such. So those are some things that I can think about, how we all kind of come into a community. And I do understand and I do agree that we all should definitely do more as a community, as a group of people, no matter where you are on the planet, that we should do more for each other, because we are here to love each other. We are here to love our brother as ourselves. And so think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. So the Israel, oh, well, I'm going to just read this part again. The descendants of Merari, clan by clan, were allotted 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites gave the Levites these towns and their pasture lands from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. They allotted the previously named towns. Some of the Kohathite clans were given as their territory towns from the tribe of Ephraim. In the hill country of Ephraim, they were given Shechem, a city of refuge, and Gezer, Jokmeam, Beth Horon, Ajalon, and Gath Rimmon, together with their pasture lands. And from half the tribe of Manasseh, the Israelites gave Anar and Bileam, together with their pasture lands, to the rest of the Kohathite clans. The Gershonites received the following. From the clan of the half-tribe of Manasseh, they received Golan and Bashan, and also Ashtaroth, together with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Issachar, they received Kadesh, Dabereth, Ramoth, and Enem, together with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Asher, they received Mashal, Abdon, Hukok, Rehob, together with their pasture lands. And from the tribe of Naphtali, they received Kadesh in Galilee, Hammon, and Kirithaim, together with their pasture lands. The Merarites, the rest of the Levites, received the following. From the tribe of Zebulun, they received Jokneam, Karta, Rimono, and Tebar, together with their pasture lands. From the tribe of Reuben, across the Jordan, east of Jericho, they received Bezar in the desert, Jahzah, Kedemoth, and Mepath, together with their pasture lands. And from the tribe of Gad, they received Ramoth and Gilead, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, together with their pasture lands. So this also gives us an idea of how the lands were separated, who was residing where, what kind of what families, because this is clans, tribes, etc. This what families were where, and throughout the country, or throughout the area of Israel, throughout the Promised Land, and how everybody was given portions and such. So as we can see, the Lord was already providing in abundance for everybody, and so it goes to show that even though the Lord had pulled these people from bondage, from slavery, they get to the Promised Land, and it gets split up, divided, so that no one is upset about not having enough land or not having enough food or what have you, to the point where they'd start taking things for granted. They start taking their lives for granted. They start doing things that not following the commands, forgetting about them, not carrying them through, or disobeying them completely, outright. And so it just shows, how blessed they were, and what they were going to do with it, what they did with it. Originally, when they got there, they followed the commands, but over time and over generation by generation, they slowly slipped away. So what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. We have lots more names to go over for the other tribes. Issachar. The sons of Issachar: Tola, Pua, Jashub, and Shimron, 4 in all. The sons of Tola: Uzi, Raphiah, Jeriel, Jahamai, Ibsam, and Samuel, heads of their families. During the reign of David, the descendants of Tola listed as fighting men in their genealogy numbered 22,600. The son of Uzi: Izariah, the sons of Israel: Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. All 5 of them were chiefs. According to their family genealogy, they had 36,000 men ready for battle, for they had many wives and children. The relatives who were fighting men belonging to all the clans of Issachar, as listed in their genealogy, were 87,000 in all. So quite a bit of people in that family. And think about it. They went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, and you have all of the which became Israel, and then you went to have the clans, and so you went from very few people to just a numerous people over time, and because the Lord blessed them. So let's continue to read. Benjamin, the sons of Benjamin, Bela, Becher, and Jadiel, the sons of Jadiel, the sons of Bela, Esbon, Uzi, Aziel, Jeremoth, and Eri, heads of families, 5 in all. Their genealogy record listed 22,034 fighting men. The sons of Becher, Zemara, Joash, Elizar, Elonai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Elameth. All these were the sons of Becher. Their genealogical record listed the heads of families and 20,200 fighting men. So another tribe that had a lot, was expanding during the beginning of the tribes. The son of Jadiel, Bilhan, the sons of Bilhan, Joash, Benjamin, Ehud, Kenah, Zethan, Tarshish, and Ahishahar. All these sons of Jadiel were heads of families. There were 17,200 fighting men ready to go out to war. The Shupites and Huppites were the descendants of and the Hushites, the descendants of Ahar. So, lots here. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we go over these names? Anything reminded from things that we've read in the past? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Naphtali. The sons of Naphtali, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shillem, the descendants of Belha. Manasseh. The descendants of Manasseh, Esriel was his descendant through his Aramean concubine. She gave birth to Machir, the father of Gilead. Machir took a wife from among the Huppites and Shupites. His sister's name was Micah. Remember, we read over them too. Another descendant was named Zelophehad, who had only daughters. Machir's wife, Micah, gave birth to a son and named him Perish. His brother was named Sherish, and his sons were Ulam and Rechem. The son of Ulam, Bedan. These were the sons of Gilead, son of Machir, the son of Manasseh. His sister, Hamoleketh, gave birth to Ishdod, Abiezer, and Mahalah. The sons of Shemitah were Ahan, Shechem, Lechi, and Enaim. Lots more names. And it's going to continue on because, again, this is the genealogy. This is the records. These are the names of the tribes and such. So a lot here. I know one thing that just came to my mind is in big families when people get in trouble and the parent calls out, okay, John, James, you know who you are, get over here. or they go through a list of their children's names, and because there may be an issue, or if there is an issue, maybe they bring out everybody and they're like, okay, everybody's in trouble. That's one thing that was going through my mind. Also, if you don't have a family, adopted or unfortunate circumstances, whatever that may be, do understand and know and realize that you do have a family. We all are in a family. We're all part of the family under the Lord, under Christ, our Savior. And so you do have brothers and sisters. Please do reach out. Please do communicate. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always leave a comment, send something to the email address. But those are things to think about as well, in life. And because you even may have family, you may not get along with those family, but you also have family in Christ. And that's one thing that I've throughout my life, that I've grown to realize and understand, and really, really strengthen in, is that I don't just have siblings that I know of, that I know were my siblings. I also have brothers and sisters in Christ, and that I can relate, that I can talk to, that I can lean on. We can lean together in and focus on the Lord and put our trust and hope in the Lord. So think about those things in your life as well. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Ephraim, the descendants of Ephraim, Shuthelah bered his son, Tehath his son, Elidah his son, Tehath his son, Zabad his son, and Shuthelah his son. Oh, another thing that came to my mind previously when I was reading this before was that how we are with the names. People get named the same name over and over again, right? Even up to today, bringing past to present easily. Sometimes you have girls in family named Rose and Rose, or and when it comes to men, you have John Jr., John the second, or John the third. I mean, John, and it keeps going and such. And so you have people who are named, after their mother, after their aunt, after a cousin, after the grandmother, grandfather, same on the going down the male side. They have after their father, their grandparent, their cousin, their uncle, etc. So names are repeated, and that still happens to this day, and that's one thing that is sometimes you kind of have to write down, kind of have to understand, because there are names that are repeated, and it may say this person's name was Zechariah, but it's not necessarily the Zechariah of the prophet or Nehemiah, but it's not necessarily the name of the actual prophet. So those are things that to take note of course. One name that comes to my mind that I don't usually see is Moses. I don't see it. There may be another Moses, but I don't believe reading. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, please do, in the comments. But I'm not quite sure. So there's a few, that are not repeated, but typically throughout the Bible, there are going to be. And actually, we know today, many names. David's still used, David, James, John, Peter, and the list goes on. So think about those things in our life and yours. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Elizar and Eliad were killed by the native-born men of Gath when they went down to seize their livestock. Their father Ephraim mourned for them many days, and his relatives came to comfort him. Then he lay with his wife again, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. He named him Beriah, because there had been misfortune in his family. His daughter was Shira, who built Lower and Upper Beth Horon, as well as Uzan Sherah. I don't know if that's correct pronunciation, but it just reminded me of a cartoon. She-Ra. And like He-Man. But I don't believe that is right. But that's, things that come to mind, right? Interesting. Let's continue to read. Repha was his son. Resheph his son. Telah his son, Tahan his son, Ladan his son, Amihud his son, Elishama his son, Nun his son, and Joshua his son. Their lands and settlements included Bethel and its surrounding villages, Naran to the east, Gezer and its villages to the west, and Shechem and its villages all the way to Aiah and its villages. Along the borders of Manasseh were Bethshan, Tanakh, Megiddo, and Dor, together with their villages. The descendants of Joseph, son of Israel, lived in these towns. And so that was for Ephraim. So reading over that portion, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Asher. The sons of Asher, Imnah, Ishvi, and Beri. Their sister was Sarah. The sons of Beri, Heber, Malkiel, who was the father of Birzaith. Heber was the father of Japhlet, Shomer, and Hatham, and of their sister Shua. The sons of Japhlet, Pesach, Bimhal, and Ashvath. These were Japhlet's sons. The sons of Shomer, Ahi, Rohgah, Huba, and Aram. The sons of his brother Helem, Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah, Shua, Hernephar, Shui, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Had, Shema, Shilshah, Ithran, and Bera. The sons of Jether, Jephunneh, Pispa, and Ara. The sons of Ulah, Arahanil, and Raziah. All these were descendants of Asher, heads of families, choice men, brave warriors, and outstanding leaders. The number of men ready for battle, as listed in their genealogy, was 26,000. So a lot. We just went over quite a bit. And it will continue, of course, with all of these names and such. So what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel? And what does it make you think? I do believe we may go over a little bit today because of the amount of information, including all these names, when we get there. So let's continue to read. The genealogy of Saul the Benjamite. Benjamin was the father of Bela, his firstborn, Ashbel the second son, Arhara the third, Noha the fourth, and Repha the fifth. The sons of Bela were Adar, Gera, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoa, Gera, Shephufan, and Huram. These were the descendants of Ehud, who were heads of families of those living in Gibeon and were deported to Menahath. Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera, who deported them, and who was the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. Sons were born to Shaharaim in Moab after he had divorced his wives Hushim and Bara. By his wife Hodesh, he had Jobab, Zibiah, Misha, Malcolm, Jeuaz, Sakiah, and Mirma. These were his sons, heads of families. By Hushim, he had Abitub and Elpal. The sons of Elpal, Eber, Misham, Shemed, who built Ono and Lod with its surrounding villages, and Bera and Shema, who were heads of families of those living in Ahijalon, and who drove out the inhabitants of Gath. Ahio, Shishak, Jeremoth, Zebediah, Ered, Eder, Michael, Ishba, and Joha were the sons of Beri. Zebediah, Meshullam, Hiski, Heber, Ishmerai, Izrael, and Jobah were the sons of Elpal. Jachim, Zeri, Zabdi, Alini, Zilithai, Alel, Adiah, Barah, and Shemrath were the sons of Shemi. And Ishban, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anathothajah, Iphidia and Punil were the sons of Sheshach. Lots more names. It's going to continue. And thanks for continuing along. We're going to get through this. These are a lot of names. Shamsheria, Shehariah, Athaliah, Jerushiah, Elijah, and Zikri were the sons of Jorham. I'm not quite sure if that's the Elijah. It might be. So take note. The actual one, the prophet one. Okay. All these were heads of families, chiefs as listed in their genealogy, and they lived in Jerusalem. Might be because they lived, I believe that's where Elijah was from. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put agreements in the comments. Let's continue to read. Jeel, the father of Gibeon, lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Micah, and his firstborn son was Abidan, followed by Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechar, and Mikloth, who was the father of Shemiah. They too lived near their relatives in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish, Kish the father of Saul, and Saul the father of Jonathan, Malchiah, Shua, Abinadab, and Eshbal. Remember, Saul was I believe this is Saul is in the first king of Israel, right? Remember, Saul, he was tall, he was leader looking. He was tall, had presence, and yet when it was time for him to be anointed and become the leader, he hid. He ran and hid. It says a lot about character, and it says a lot about what I always tell people to avoid first impressions, because that's something that people almost live by today. There's so many people who judge people, and that's another thing. Be very wary of judging people. So first impressions and judging people, take note. Take it to the Lord. That'll help you not do those things, because you may think one thing and make a determination, and it is completely wrong. And majority of the time, it is completely wrong. So 99.99999% of the time, it's completely wrong. So really, really take it to the Lord. Yes. Amen with that. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we go over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The son of Jonathan, or I think I already read this, but I'm just going to read the one before it. Ner was the father of Kish, Kish the father of Saul, and Saul the father of Jonathan. Yeah, I did. Okay, the son of Jonathan. Meribal, who was the father of Micah, the sons of Micah, Pithon, Melech, Terah, and Ahaz. Micah. Maybe take note of Micah. I'm not quite sure if this is the Micah, prophet Micah, or if this is another Micah. Anyways, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be. So I don't think I am, but take note of Micah, because he is a prophet as well. If it's not, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Where did the sons of Micah? Ahaz was the father of Jehoiada. Jehoiada was the father of Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. And Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Benaiah. Rapha was his son. Elisah his son, and Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bokhura, Ishmael, Shariah, Obadiah, and Hanan. All these were the sons of Zil. So once again, that's another Obadiah. I'm not quite sure if that's the prophet Obadiah. It might be. So take note. If it's not, please correct me if I'm wrong. The sons of his brother Ishak, Ulam, his firstborn, Joash, the second son of, and Ephelet, the third. The sons of Ulam were brave warriors who could handle the bow. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 in all. All these were the descendants of Benjamin. So, some names there that stood out. Think about that. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. All Israel was listed in the genealogies recorded in the book of the kings of Israel. The people in Jerusalem. The people of Judah were taken captive to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. Now, the first to resettle on their own property in their own towns were some Israelites, priests, Levites, and temple servants. Those from Judah, from Benjamin, and from Ephraim and Manasseh who lived in Jerusalem were, okay, we're going to go over a lot more names. Uzai, son of Amihud, the son of Omri, the son of Imri, the son of Beni, the descendant of Perez, son of Judah. Of the Shilonites, Asaiah, the firstborn, and his sons. Of the Zerites, Jewel, the people from Judah, numbered 690. Of the Benjamites, Salu, son of Meshullam, the son of Hadavai, the son of Hasenua, Ebniah, son of Joram, Ella, son of Uzi, the son of Mikri, and Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, the son of Ruel, the son of Ibnijah. The people from Benjamin, as listed in their genealogy, numbered 956. All these men were heads of their families. The priests, Jediah, Jehoriab, Jachin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zodek, the son of Merioth, the son of Ahitub, the official in charge of the house of God. Adiah, the son of Jehoram, the son of Peshur, the son of Malchijah, and Masai, son of Adil, the son of Jehazerah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Mishalemeth, the son of Immer. The priests who were heads of families numbered 1,760. They were able men responsible for ministering in the house of God. Of the Levites, Shemiah, son of Hashub, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah, a Merarite, Bakabakar, Harish, Galal, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, the son of Zikri, the son of Asaph, Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who lived in the villages of the Netophathites, the gatekeepers. Shalom, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their brothers, Shalom, their chief, being stationed at the king's gate on the east up to the present time. These were the gatekeepers belonging to the camp of the Levites: Shalom, son of Korah, the son of Abisaph, the son of Korah, and his fellow gatekeepers from his family, the Kohathites, Korahites, were responsible for guarding the thresholds of the tent, just as their fathers had been responsible for guarding the entrance to the dwelling of the Lord. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Elizar, was in charge of the gatekeepers, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. It's that time again. I'm going to put some more light in here. There we go. It's always like, it starts to get dark. This is the evening. So as we can see, there's a lot of additional details that may have been left out in previous books, right? So that's one thing, some of the things. So now we know how things were set up and who was where during certain times in Israel. So think about those things. And that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important when it comes to history and DNA and such, and finding those things out, for those that are interested to find out, more about where they come from and how they came to be, right? What cultures they were, their family was a part of and such. So think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind over this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Altogether, those chosen to be gatekeepers at the thresholds number 212, they were registered by genealogy in their villages. The gatekeepers had been assigned to their positions of trust by David and Samuel the seer. They and their descendants were in charge of guarding the gates of the house of the Lord, the house called the tent. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their brothers in their villages had to come from time to time and share their duties for 7-day periods. But the four principal gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the responsibility for the rooms and treasuries in the house of God. They would spend the night stationed around the house of God because they had to guard it and they had charge of the key for opening it each morning. Some of them were in charge of the articles used in the temple service. They counted them when they were brought in and when they were taken out. Others were assigned to take care of the furnishings and all the other articles of the sanctuary, as well as the flour and wine and the oil, incense and spices. But some of the priests took care of mixing the spices. A Levite named Mattithiah, the firstborn son of Shalom the Kohorite, was entrusted with the responsibility for baking the offering bread. Some of their Kohathite brothers were in charge of preparing for every Sabbath the bread set out on the table. I'll just continue real quick. Those who were musicians, heads of Levite families, stayed in the rooms of the temple and were exempt from other duties because they were responsible for the work day and night. All these were heads of Levite families, chiefs as listed in their genealogy, and they lived in Jerusalem. So that's one thing about families. Think about that too. How there are people in your family, past or present, that have something that they can do really well. Sing, dance, act, cook. I know in my family, that I consider, and this is an opinion statement, I know that we can all cook. More so in my immediate family, there's really just 3 of us that can cook. You know what I mean? And so, but each one of us has a skill in something, including cooking, certain select dishes and such. But there's different talents and different things that each person has. And so, do you know your talent? Do you know what your specialty is? Do you know someone else's? Think about those things, and all of that. And that being said, even with me saying what I'm saying, and that may not be the case. There may be more than 3 people in my family that can cook and such. But think about those things and think about how each of those qualities are differences, and those differences are beautiful, and they are blessings. They are blessings from the Lord. And each of us, like I mentioned before, each and every single person has a reason and a purpose in their own story. And so what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. The genealogy of Saul. Jeel, the father of Gibeon, lived in Gibeon. His wife's his wife's name was Micah, and his firstborn son was Abidan, followed by Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedar, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shemim. They too lived near their relatives in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish, Kish the father of Saul, and Saul the father of Jonathan, Malchi-Shua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. The son of Jonathan, Mirabal, who was the father of Micah, the sons of Micah, Pithon, Melech, Tahariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jeddah. Jeddah was the father of Alameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. And Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Beniah. Raphael was his son. Eleazar his son, and Azel his son. Azel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Bokua, Ishmael, Shiriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Ishmael is another name. Take note. Okay. But there's other people who name Ishmael as well. Okay. So reading over this about Saul and his family, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? Let's continue to read. Saul takes his life. Remember that? Now the Philistines fought against Israel. The Israelites fled before them, and many fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines pressed hard after Saul and his sons, and they killed his sons Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchi-Shua. The fighting grew fierce around Saul, and when the archers overtook him, they wounded him. So remember, Saul was chosen the first king of Israel, but he didn't fully commit to the Lord. He did some things what he wanted to do. He didn't fully follow what the Lord wanted him to do. So the Lord was going to take the kingdom away from him, of Israel away from him, and give it to another person, which ended up being David. So, like I said, the Chronicles is a complete, huge review. And there would be a test after this. Now I'm just playing. Just kidding. Okay, let's continue to read. Saul said to his arm bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, or these uncircumcised fellows will come and abuse me." Now, so uncircumcised one, that's like really, because that's saying, these are non-God fearing, they don't worship. So it's kind of like it's a derogatory term in these days, in the Old Testament during this time. So he's like saying these disgusting people are gonna or they're gonna run me in, or do, so, and he's wanting somebody to go ahead and end his life that's not uncircumcised, and he's gonna find some difficulty because he's anointed. He's an anointed leader. So let's continue to read. But his arm bearer was terrified and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it. When the arm bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his sword and died. So Saul and his 3 sons died, and all his house died together, just like the prophet had told them. Remember, the prophet told them, prophecy from God. It's true, 100%, no doubt about it. Let's continue to read. When all the Israelites in the valley saw that the army had fled and that Saul and his sons had died, they abandoned their towns and fled, and the Philistines came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the dead, they found Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. They stripped him and took his head and his armor and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to proclaim the news among their idols and their people. They put his armor in the temple of their gods and hung up his head in the temple of Dagon. When all the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of everything the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men went and took the bodies of Saul and his sons and brought them to Jabesh. Then they buried their bones under the great tree in Jabesh, and they fasted 7 days. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord, and even consulted a medium for guidance. and did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, son of Jesse. So lots here, right? Okay, so one first thing, the Philistines thought that they did it. They did it because their god Dagon or whatever this thing is, helped them. And then that wasn't the case. The prophet told, because Saul was leading Israel incorrectly, not following the commands and law and such. And so the punishment was that Saul would lose the kingdom. And also Israel would be routed at that time. And they were, by the Philistines. They got, a lesson learned, right? Or supposed to be, right? They got discipline. And so that's Saul was so much not wanting to follow the Lord and then getting frustrated because he wanted to do what he wanted to do. So he made his decision. So think about past and present, because we're going to utilize this too. He made a decision and he wanted to force his way to that, through that decision, even with speaking to the Lord and saying, Lord, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. You need to bless me for it. Like demanding that the Lord be okay and bless him for it. Think about those things. And so much so that when the Lord wouldn't answer him, he went to a medium. He went to somebody who dealt with spirits. And that person was very surprised when, sure enough, a prophet answered. And they freaked out. They were like, oh, we're dealing with God, and this is also his prophet. And so think about that, though. And that's why he had fallen so far away that he was trying to get answers from anybody and everybody except from the Lord, instead of humbling himself, asking for forgiveness and praying and having faith in the Lord. And so think about that, past and present. Do we do that sometimes? Do you do that? Do I do that? Do we know people who do that, who have their mind dead set on something and want to do it and are determined to do it, and then are like, I'm doing this and the Lord's okay with it, or the Lord's good with it? So typically how you can tell, it says also in the Bible, you can determine by their fruit, right? How we can tell is if it's correct, it's peaceful, it's accurate, it's everybody's comforted, it's correct, it's right. And there's blessings that are reaped from it. People are blessed from it. When it's our doing, when we put our feelings and our opinions in it, this happens a lot. I'm telling you, this happens a lot. It's almost like people put a block on prayer or the Lord. Like they're like, I'm bound and determined to do something. I think the Lord's going to want me to do it. Or I feel like the Lord's, and they really haven't prayed. They really haven't committed that time in a relationship with our living Lord, with our living God, and spoken with Jesus. Nothing. Just, I feel strongly about this. This is what I want to do. They may even claim that they pray, and the prayer is going to be like a one way. It's going to be like, Lord, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. Bless me. Amen. And so this happens a lot. And so we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Each and every one of us, we have to be careful. We still have to learn patience, because it's in God's timing. A lot of things that we want, a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of things that we want and stuff happen. But they don't happen in our time. They happen in God's time. And that's something that throughout my life, slowly but surely, I've had to learn and understand. And I still continue to learn and understand. Those things still happen to me. There are things that I'm like, I want to be certain accomplishment. There's certain goals and such, and certain points that I want to be and where I want to be in life and such. But I have to also understand that it's not in my timing, and it may not be for me, and it may not be something that the Lord provides or gives me. It may be something completely different, and it's much better because the Lord knows exactly what each and every single one of us needs. He knows, He loves us, each and every single one of us, and knows exactly what we need, and is our provider. So think about those things. There's a lot here just from that, right? And so over that portion, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? The next thing is Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord, and even consulted a medium for guidance, and did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David, the son of Jesse. But before that, the valiant men. So when all the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of everything the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men went and took the bodies of Saul and his sons and brought them to Jabesh. So it didn't just... So we got to think about that. Philistines were warring against Israel. So these valiant men didn't just walk in to the Philistines and say, give us back the head and his armor and stuff. Remember, this was a battle. This was the spoils of war. So they had these things locked up, they had these things paraded. They had these things like, look at our spoils. And even they had nothing, their whatever didn't have nothing to do with it. It was the Lord allowing for things to happen, because he does, in order for us to learn a lesson, past, present, for us to understand. He wants us to come to Him, and we try to put our own thoughts and feelings, and well, I wouldn't have done it that way, and we got to get above and past that. And we got to accept that is not, we're not holy. And we'll get to Job, when we get to Job and all that, like that, we'll understand that more so. But what we have to understand here, I'll go back to the point, is these were valiant men. These were men who went and were like, look, we know we were routed, but we also know we still have faith, and we're going to go ahead. Key thing, faith, right? Key thing, faith, Lord, faith in the Lord. And so they had faith, and they were like, let's go. We don't want the Philistines to be able to celebrate this continually and use this as any type of advantage or any type of thing over. So they went and they were successful. They were able to infiltrate and obtain Saul's head in the armory and such, and bring it back, and that and do the proper burial for an anointed king, during this time. And so that was a huge thing. That's a huge thing. We have people throughout history that have done noble acts, selfless acts throughout history. I know immediately we all think about like wars and stuff, but we also can think about people who work in services, work in general services, firefighters, policemen, EMTs, hospitals, etc. People who work for the protection and betterment of the community, teachers, anybody who, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific job. It could be any person that goes out and does a fantastic deed. You may know someone, you may read about somebody, maybe somebody close, somebody in your family, maybe even yourself. Those things are something that are awesome. They're a blessing to each and every one of us, as well as it's a good thing. It's a gift. It's a gift from the Lord, that whatever it was successful, and it was beneficial, and it helped. So think about those things. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? There's a lot here. So let's do a quick review. Okay, so we started in chapter 6 with Levi, and so we read through Levi and the sons and the family members through Levi's tribe, and then we also talked about the temple musicians that were in the temple and of service of the Lord. We also went on to Issachar and Benjamin, those tribes and the names of those tribes and the family members, and the Naphtali and Manasseh and Asher, and the genealogy of Saul and how important that is, and how we know where a lot of these names that we recognize are from, as well as the people in Jerusalem, the genealogy of Saul, and about how it gave us the little ending of Saul, how Saul took his own life, and what happened and why, as well as giving us more information about how the valiant men went and took his body, his head, and those things that they took back from the armaments and such back to Israel. So there's a lot here. Reading over this whole Bible study today, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me in another Lamp Bible study. There's a lot of names and a lot of things today that we go over, but Chronicles is a complete review. There'll be some more names again, but there also will be more details that we will get to kind of show us kind of what, and make it more of an understanding. There's one in particular, because there was one king of Israel or Judah that can't remember until I'll remember when we read back over it, that it was like they did everything that the Lord wanted him to do, but then all of a sudden it was like bad things happened and he died. And there's a reason for that. And the actual detail that was missed from during the book of Kings is in here in Chronicles, that gives us why that happened, why the Lord allowed that to happen. And so we'll know and understand. So that happens throughout the Bible. There's little details, and if it's missed in one book, more than likely it's in another book. So that happens. And it's not necessarily, and the Bible's not necessarily all fully in historical order, because especially near the end, there's going to be some prophets that are going to be back to during the Kings, books of the Kings and such. So it'll kind of jump back and forth a little bit between Old Testament, past and present, right? So lots to look forward to. A Lamp Bible study comes out every Tuesday and Thursday, along with highlights throughout the week and flashlights on Fridays. If you have any questions, concerns, you can always leave a comment in the comment section. There's an Instagram page as well. And if you want to have any additional questions or comments or concerns, or if you want to do more with Lamp Bible Study, there's an email link in the YouTube page as well for, you can send whatever you have there to the email, read those as well. I pray that we continue to seek the Lord's wisdom together through his holy word. Please continue to pray for me. As always, I will always continue to pray for you. And thank you very much. And I hope to see you again on another Lamp Bible study. Very excited for another Lamp Bible study. So wherever you are, have a blessed morning, a blessed day, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening, and a blessed night. God bless.